The silence of compassion. Remember that moment when someone fumbled their coffee cup, sending a warm splash across their shirt, and a ripple of nervous laughter swept through the room? Or when a friend tripped over their own feet, prompting an instant, almost involuntary chuckle from those nearby? In the quiet hum of communal life, such a casual laugh often reveals a subtle truth about us, an almost unconscious hunger to feel superior. This impulse can be a signal of belonging, momentarily dulling our conscience and sharpening the taste of social success, allowing the ego to surge and proclaim a higher place in the hierarchy. Laughter, in this context, serves as an egoic relief. It rises quickly, soothing our fear of vulnerability and reminding us that we can find comfort in the shared misfortune of others. While laughter can offer a brief escape from moral self-consciousness, it also reminds us that the same instinct can lead to humiliation and mockery, sharpening our sense of us against us. Yet, compassion acts as a powerful counterpoint. Imagine if, instead of that quick burst of laughter at a spilled coffee or a misstep, someone had simply offered a napkin, a steadying hand, or a quiet, "Are you okay?" A gentle act of tenderness or a mindful pause can break the cycle of belittling, transforming mockery into a domestic ritual that restores dignity and compassion. By recognizing the shared vulnerability in every misstep, compassion quiets the ego, shifting our stance from a drive to feel larger to a resolve to ease another's burden. It offers a more humane alternative to pride, fostering a deeper, more humane connection and allowing us to honor the dignity of every person. 3. The choice to listen. Silence as invitation. The practice of compassion, which allows us to honor the dignity of every person, is deeply intertwined with the act of listening and the power of silence. In the hushed corners of a crowded room, a sudden pause hangs between the words, tilting the scales of our understanding. Consider a moment in a heated family discussion. When one person stopped to truly listen instead of formulating a rebuttal, the tension eased, and a deeper understanding of unspoken anxieties emerged. To listen is more than to hear. It is a deliberate choice to suspend judgment and glimpse another world. In that quiet act, we find humility and a heightened awareness of what it means to be human. The pause invites a broader grasp of our being, a gentle reminder that listening itself is a form of care. We open our eyes to perspectives that would have seemed impossible without this quiet act, revealing the beauty of other outlooks and the limits of our own thinking. Each attentive moment becomes a gentle test against haste, inviting us into a richer world we had never imagined. Mindful listening is not a passive act. It is an active engagement with the emotions and experiences of others. It's a chance to cultivate a community rooted in empathy, where we learn to feel what others feel, to think with them, and to recognize the true sense of responsibility and justice that arises from such connection. Thus, the gift of listening becomes a powerful force that invites deeper understanding and a shared commitment to the well-being of all. By adopting care over ridicule, kindness over scorn, and empathy, we create a more compassionate and connected sphere, one that values the dignity and worth of every individual. As we strive for a deeper sense of humanity and connection, the loudest shifts often begin in the silence of our own hearts. 1. Awareness arriving. The ego's relief, not joy. Yet, despite this internal striving, the human mind, often masked by ego and insecurity, can be jolted by an unexpected form of revelation. Imagine a comedian on stage, faltering slightly, then quipping, "I have a fear of public speaking. It's a genetic thing. Both my parents had it, and so did their audience." The shock begins with a laugh that follows the speaker, a startled reflex that leaps over the discomfort before it arrives. In that instant, the joke offers egoic relief, a moment where we laugh at the speaker's vulnerability, perhaps feeling superior or simply relieved it isn't us. But then, the deeper truth about the human condition surfaces. We all grapple with fears and imperfections, often masked by ego and insecurity. The human mind laughs at the menace lurking beneath the surface of our own anxieties. The relief that follows is not a blissful self-contempt, but a clarity that comes when the disguise slips away, when we recognize the shared humanity in that struggle. When the veil of pretending is removed, the darkness of isolated shame is swallowed, and the heart is washed over by light. In that moment, we are thrust into the certainty of presence, choosing to step out of the mask and into the awareness that the joke, the silence, and the laughter together bring a sudden, piercing insight into our common frailties. When that comedian's punchline about shared anxiety reveals genuine insight, the initial nervous humor dissolves. In its place, a quiet, firmer sense of shared humanity emerges. We recognize that our own suffering, our own fear of inadequacy or public judgment, is not separate but intertwined with that of others in the audience. The humor, in that moment, acts as a rope, not to bind us in judgment, but to keep us from drowning in the shame of our individual vulnerabilities, allowing the weight of our shared wounds to loosen and fall away. In that quiet space of mutual recognition, mindful presence replaces grand gestures with a steady, gentle steadiness, inviting us to look inward without judgment, confronting the universal fears we have hidden. The recognition, sparked by such a joke, that humor can become a break on the fire of embarrassment reminds us that the most profound change comes when we let laughter soften the edges of our pain, like the collective sigh of relief when the comedian acknowledged our common anxieties. This turns the rope of discomfort into a path toward compassion and clarity. The shift is not a rejection of wit, but a reframing of its purpose. Humor now serves to connect rather than divide, fostering solidarity in our shared imperfections. Recognizing this shared humanity marks a pivotal turning point. When we see another suffering or their struggle with the same anxieties as our own, the impulse to laugh at harm dissolves. The initial, ego-driven laughter fades, and in its place a dawning compassion takes root, guiding us toward care and understanding as a default mode. This is practical, not sentimental. Consider a moment of unexpected laughter, perhaps at a shared, minor gaffe during a serious meeting, or a self-deprecating joke that momentarily punctures a tense atmosphere. This initial egoic relief often reveals a deeper, universal truth about the human condition, our shared fallibility, our common anxieties. The humor then recalibrates what we weigh against tenderness, steering us toward compassion and moral recalibration. In this sacred space, we judge with tenderness, yet remain honest with ourselves, living with the knowledge that we are both the judge and the judged. Confronting the realities of our own vulnerabilities and those of others invites a new ethics. Empathy informs action, and the aim is relief from suffering as much as from superiority. In that silence, where absence becomes presence, our hearts learn to respond with more care, nuance, and responsibility. The quiet of that stillness lets thoughts, motives, and genuine engagement blossom, creating a space where moral recalibration can take root and a gentler posture toward life and toward one another may grow. 2. The other as mirror, realizing they are us. To sustain the moral recalibration and gentler posture toward life and one another, we must cultivate compassion and a spirit of connection that recognizes our shared humanity in others, embracing the world rather than surrendering to selfishness. Like mirrors reflecting our shared humanity, we listen closely to each other's stories and respond with genuine care. I remember a chilly morning when I saw an elderly woman struggling to carry groceries up a steep hill. Her face, etched with both determination and fatigue, momentarily became a reflection of my own grandmother, instantly dissolving my rush and prompting me to offer help. In that brief interaction, sharing her burden, her quiet gratitude was a profound reminder of our interconnectedness, transforming a fleeting observation into a moment of true empathy. By becoming ever more loving and generous, we nurture a deeper bond that turns pity into true empathy, allowing us to see the divine image in every person and to share the innermost depths of our hearts. 3. The 2-minute quiet, a memory that changes a room. To further cultivate this recognition of shared humanity, consider the deliberate practice of the 2-minute quiet. Imagine a bustling room, perhaps a team meeting or a family gathering, where laughter and conversation are flowing freely. Suddenly, someone suggests, Let's take just 2 minutes of quiet. An initial moment of surprise gives way to a gentle hush. During these 120 seconds, the invitation is to simply be present, not to plan a response, check a phone, or rehash an argument, but to quietly observe. Individuals might subtly shift their gaze, letting their eyes soften, looking at others not with an agenda, but with an open curiosity. The internal shift is from mental chatter to a quiet awareness, noticing the shared space, the subtle expressions, the collective breathing. This deliberate 2-minute pause shifts the focus from who speaks loudest to who remains open, allowing ordinary rules of social interaction to bend just long enough for us to truly notice each other's humanity beyond our roles or opinions. The 2-minute quiet is a simple paradox. Silence can be a powerful move that reveals vulnerability and invites genuine connection, transforming a room of individuals into a shared space of quiet understanding. It lifts the ordinary rhythm of conversation, giving everyone a chance to hear the other's experience and to see the shared human thread that runs through us all. In the absence of ridicule, eyes soften and signals quiet, and a person who might have been ready to judge instead chooses to listen. The result is a human touchstone that feels earned, not demanded, and it lifts us out of the heat of the moment. Memories of compassion, whether we have witnessed them or extended them ourselves, serve as a compass, guiding us back to kindness rather than contempt. This recollection becomes a steady reference point, a thread that connects past generosity to present action, and it reminds us that genuine connection is possible even when we are tempted to scorn. In stark contrast to such moments of connection, George Orwell's 2 Minutes Hate stands as a stark reminder of how quickly compassion can be abandoned for mockery. Yet when we pause, let the din of ridicule fall away, and open our eyes to the humanity of those we judge, the scene shifts. We see neighbors, not as objects of scorn, but as people with shared fears and hopes, and we feel the quiet power of genuine connection. In that moment, the harshness of judgment softens, and a quiet, almost silent understanding grows, an understanding that reminds us we are all part of the same human story, and that compassion can still rise even when we are tempted to turn away. The conclusion of this shared human story is worth writing because it chooses love over mockery. Conscious acts of mindful listening open the room for tenderness and resistance. The space warms itself only when a real human touch is there, when people feel safe and valued, and the whole place moves toward friendship rather than a dry, unfeeling distance. In that shared reverie, we give up the coldness and toughness of indifference and see into each other with the eyes of tenderness. 1. Orwell reframed, beyond politics to the heart. George Orwell's warnings go beyond political systems and reach the inner workings of the human mind. Fear and a dismissive laugh mingle, creating currents that push us toward dehumanization. We see how collective scorn trains individuals to act cruelly, normalizing such behavior, pushing society towards dehumanization. For instance, the dismissive laughter and viral mockery aimed at public figures on social media platforms for perceived flaws often transform individuals into dehumanized caricatures, normalizing a culture of contempt and online pile-ons. The same controlling pressure can turn inward, shaping personal thoughts and self-regulation, turning authentic reactions into monitored conduct. Compassion and empathy stand against these forces. These quiet mercies break the cycle of dehumanization, opening space for shared humanity. Choosing care and tenderness over contempt becomes an act of resistance, preserving our common humanity and reshaping the future Orwell warned about. 1. The warning is inside. Fear, laughter, and dehumanization. Fear, laughter, and dehumanization. The warning signs of totalitarianism that creep into our quiet hours. In the hush of the city, a tremor of routine is undercut by a subtle terror that tightens the grip on our thoughts and narrows the field of debate. Laughter, a quick egoic relief, masks this fear and makes the dehumanized masters seem easier to dismiss. George Orwell's observation that power rewrites how we know and how we name others rings true. The very laws of power reshape our perception and our language. Orwell identifies laughter as a potent, almost sacramental sign, capable of profoundly marking a society's accepted truth and reality. In the totalitarian system he depicts, this capacity is weaponized. Laughter masks insecurity, elevates the self, and turns the world into a caricature, all while plunging society into darkness. George Orwell's 1984 vividly illustrates this with a ritual of the 2 minutes hate, which trains citizens to vent anger at a designated enemy, fostering collective contempt and a ready-made script of aggression. This daily mechanism of cruelty dehumanizes its targets, erasing empathy and stripping away humanity. The laughter that accompanies it is a social cue that both unites the circle and keeps us from confronting the true horror of the regime, ultimately reducing humanity to a pathetic caricature. This pervasive system leaves citizens navigating a world where loyalty feels urgent and humanity is stripped away. The reflex that dulls sympathy serves as a quick fix for the hardening of divisions, making them intelligible but also painful, allowing political cruelty to seem normal. However, a moment of compassion, a gentle act, a touch that shows pity to one despised, can interrupt this dehumanizing loop and restore a fragment of shared humanity. For instance, a single voice offering genuine empathy or defense during a social media pile-on can disrupt the momentum of collective scorn, reminding observers of the targeted individual's inherent worth beyond the caricature. Empathy, the capacity to see each person as a human being in their own right, serves as a political warning. Without it, society is vulnerable to coercion. It is a social practice, a bulwark against psychological tyranny. Tenderness, too, offers a potent antidote, an active choice to recognize another's humanity and respond with warmth and care. When tenderness swells, it breaks the momentum of ridicule, restores dignity, and rekindles a sense of kinship that can withstand the despotism lurking beneath the surface. The silence that often follows compassionate acts speaks louder than an outburst of ridicule. It signals a deliberate pause that binds witnesses together in shared acknowledgement of vulnerability, an intentional recognition that laughter at pain has a cost, and that even the smallest gestures of care can interrupt cycles of cruelty. This choice to lean into compassion and tenderness, rather than contempt, is an inner politics of the heart that keeps the flame of shared humanity alight. It is through such daily choices, listening with patience, insisting that all pain and hope be shared, valuing each person's worth, and giving that impulse of self-sacrifice, that we collectively awaken and restore humanity. These collective awakenings, moments when communities choose kindness, patience, and mutual respect, offer a path back from cruelty toward a culture that prizes care as a public good, mending the social fabric and making it resilient against the lure of dehumanization. 2. From surveillance to self-surveillance. Internal totalitarianism. Even as society grapples with external warnings and the dehumanizing forces of totalitarianism, something intimate has shifted in the way people govern themselves. The line of control that once ran along streets, borders, and public rules now threads itself through our thoughts, turning surveillance into a normal inward reflection. This quiet interior assessor watches everything we think and do from the very bottom of our hearts, often leaving us constantly second-guessing our actions, like endlessly reviewing conversation to ensure we said the right thing. In this new phase, freedom, responsibility, and connection are subtly altered. The inward turn reshapes our capacity for compassion and the power to truly see what another person feels. For instance, we might hesitate to offer genuine help to a stranger, too preoccupied with how our action might be perceived or internally judged. This self-surveillance tightens its grip, leading to an erosion of spontaneity and authentic responses. Regulated behavior becomes the default, while genuine feelings sink into carefully measured performances. Consider the constant crafting of an online persona, where every post is weighed for impact, rather than a natural expression of self. The inner critic, originally meant to protect social balance, grows dim and dry, stifling emotions and replacing them with instinct-ridden reflexes. Empathy is often supplanted by quick judgments, causing the heart to harden and distances to blur. Instead of truly listening to a friend's problem, we might find ourselves mentally preparing a rebuttal or quickly categorizing their experience. This internal dialogue can turn contempt toward others and toward the self, echoing the cold dynamics that once ruled public life. The internalization of hate and humiliation, often reproduced by the public sphere, seeps into our being, making us reluctant to feel genuine anger or process slights constructively. We might hold on to resentment from a minor comment for days, rather than addressing it directly. The result is a profound rupture. The heart remains open only to the narrowest connections, and a quiet, persistent loneliness settles in. People seem to disappear behind these internal walls as we avoid social gatherings, finding the effort to perform too great, even with loved ones. Yet when compassion returns, it can break that tyranny, reawakening the heart to humanity and to the shared awareness of others. Love, not as a self-satisfied indulgence, but as a selfless, unshamed gift, restores warmth and openness to the soul. This means actively choosing to listen without judgment, or performing an unexpected act of kindness for someone you barely know. By embracing this quiet compassion, we lift ourselves out of despotism, allowing the spirit of humanity to flourish anew, connecting us with each other and with the wider universe. Love becomes the antidote that heals the heart and keeps it open to the stranger and to ourselves alike. 3. The loss of tenderness. What 1984 can still teach. As internal totalitarianism reshapes the self and the inner voice becomes a quiet assessor, even the most communal expressions can reveal a deeper fracture. In crowded rooms, a burst of laughter, far from fostering connection, now often betrays a profound loss of tenderness, acting as a hidden statistic of how easily we drift apart and the hardening of the heart. Empathy is less a private feeling than a social practice, a bulwark against the psychological tyranny that seeks to mute differences and impose conformity. By choosing compassion over contempt, we engage in the inner politics of our hearts, keeping the flame of shared humanity alight. The public mood can become a sharp, almost intimate training in cruelty, yet it also offers a moment to recognize and resist the despotism that lurks beneath the surface. Through acts of tenderness and compassion, which offer a potent antidote to dehumanization, we can foster quiet spaces where dignity is restored and kinship rekindled. 2. The moral anatomy. Empathy, moral injury, and bias. The path from concern to cruelty is paved by quiet shifts in our thinking, and often we move from a mild expression of contempt to indifference, and then to an act of cruelty that blinds us to the suffering of others. These subtle mental habits shape our moral responsibility, turning pity and fear into a weapon that justifies harm. To break this cycle, we must look honestly at the forces at work in our unconscious prejudice, recognize the ways we see others as threats or symbols, and awaken to the fact that our own cruelty is not inevitable but a choice. By doing so, we can lift the blindfold that keeps us from seeing the true cost of our actions and reclaim a more compassionate way of living. 1. Cognitive biases that justify cruelty. What moves a crowd from the horror of concern to cruelty is not a single villain, but a set of silent gears that shape how we see ourselves and others. These cognitive biases mislead us, bend moral responsibility, and rationalize harm, quietly authorizing cruelty. When the initial guilt recedes, the crowd often shifts from a state of unrelenting fear of evil to one of indifference, and then to a simple, almost detached stance where no one feels compelled to act. In this progression, moral reactions are dulled, and acts that once felt like transgressions become mere duties. One powerful mechanism is essentialization, which reduces a person to a single trait, such as race, religion, skin tone, or an imagined habit, erasing all other aspects of their humanity. This process strips the other of complexity, making them appear less human and more like a threat. For example, during times of conflict, an entire group of people might be labeled as terrorists or enemies based solely on their ethnicity or religion, reducing their individual humanity and making violence against them seem justified as a necessary defense. Essentialization fuels stereotyping and confirmation bias, shifting blame away from the perpetrator and making harm seem like a natural response to a dehumanized image. Thus, cruelty stops being a moral choice and becomes an almost inevitable outcome. Threats feel larger when they are easy to recall or tied to an initial impression. Availability bias amplifies perceived danger by making us overestimate the likelihood of events that are readily brought to mind. For instance, if media constantly highlights isolated incidents of crime by a specific demographic, people may overestimate the overall threat posed by that group, making them more accepting of discriminatory policies. Similarly, anchoring bias causes us to rely too heavily on the first piece of information offered. An initial negative stereotype about a group, e.g., they are inherently lazy, can become an anchor, making it harder to acknowledge individual achievements or positive traits, thereby justifying inaction or prejudice. These biases can make mockery seem like a normal coping tactic. Cruel behavior can appear safer when it is viewed as a quick way to reduce anxiety. Normalcy bias leads people to assume that conditions will remain normal, preventing them from acting compassionately when a situation seems ordinary. In a community where bullying or harassment has become commonplace, for example, people might rationalize it as just how things are, failing to intervene because it doesn't seem abnormal enough to warrant action. Coupled with this is the bystander effect, where the presence of others discourages an individual from intervening in an emergency or harmful situation. When someone is being verbally abused in a public space, if many people are present, each individual might assume someone else will intervene, leading to no one acting and the abuse continuing unchecked. This allows cruelty to continue, turning it into a background hum of everyday life. Awareness is the first step toward change. Moral licensing describes the phenomenon where, after doing something virtuous, people may feel entitled to cause harm later. For instance, someone who regularly volunteers at a charity might later feel justified in being rude or dismissive to a service worker, believing their good deed has earned them the right to a minor transgression. While virtuous acts contribute to good, they do not grant permission for subsequent harm. Awareness of this balance invites responsibility and choice in every act. In everyday life, these dynamics surface in debates, headlines, and even casual jokes, reminding us that our actions are guided by both conscience and circumstance. By recognizing how our cognitive biases shape our decisions, we can steer our behavior to a more humane and just world. 2. Mirror neurons and the physiology of compassion. While cognitive biases can obscure our moral compass and foster indifference, our inherent capacity for compassion, deeply embedded in our biology, often calls us to a different path. On a crowded street, a child's balloon slips from its grip and drifts away, a small crisis that ripples through strangers who have never met, eliciting a pang in their chest or a tightening in their gut, as if they too had lost something precious. We feel the tug of another's mood before we even name it, and that instinct is rooted in the mirror neurons that light up not only when we suffer, but when we watch someone else in pain. These mirrored cells anchor our capacity for compassion, guiding us to care for others as deeply as for ourselves. The biology of compassion shows that we are, in many ways, the most open animal, able to feel and respond to the suffering of strangers with a natural, almost instinctive empathy that transcends mere observation. These cells form the neural substrate that activates when we witness a stranger's distress, allowing us to see the other person as they truly are and guiding our compassionate response. The mirror neuron system echoes our own emotional reaction, nudging us toward the help we should offer. This automatic, timely signal creates a social bond that keeps us connected, especially when we feel we can give our best. Oxytocin, often called the cuddle hormone, strengthens trust and closeness, acting as the glue that holds this network of mutual care together. Think of the warmth from a comforting hug or the shared joy and laughter. These moments release oxytocin, deepening our bonds. In touch, eye contact, and shared moments, a veritable burst of neurochemistry awakens us, enhancing the clarity and responsiveness of our mirroring circuits. The resulting social ties grow effortlessly, feel easier to maintain, and nurture a deep pleasure that sweetens our nature. When we care for one another, the neurochemical reward reinforces the bond, keeping it alive and resilient even when challenges arise. The interplay of compassion and neurochemistry creates a state of both care and play, deepening our warmth toward each other and enriching the experience of mutual support. Negative feedback dampens the impulse, while supportive cues sustain a steady capacity for care. However, despite this powerful biological foundation for connection, challenges remain. Mirror activity reminds us of the group in trouble, but bias and defensive rationalizations can still blunt our response. This power of silence in reframing group emotion keeps the mood steady, turning collective sorrow into quiet resilience and allowing compassion to grow rather than fade. In the absence of words, the body's empathy remains active, guiding restraint and reflection by instinct and compassionate resolve. By grasping the biology of compassion, we can prepare the way for a compassionate and caring society. 3. Narratives that erase humanity, restoring the image of the other. Building on the biology of compassion that binds us, we must also recognize that the stories we tell and believe profoundly shape our perception of others and either open the door to empathy or close it. For instance, a common narrative might stereotype a particular group as lazy or undeserving, reducing complex individuals to a dismissive label. However, by actively seeking to understand their unique experiences, listening to their personal stories, and recognizing the shared human emotions of struggle, hope, and resilience, we begin to restore their full humanity and dismantle the dehumanizing image we once held, choosing tenderness over judgment. At the crossroads where fear and kindness meet, a single glance can sweep away the shadows that cling to us. We must let go of the stories that reduce others to mere symbols and open space for empathy to return. By doing so, we give each person the chance to share their own story, to remember and choose, and to break the cycle of blame that fuels the infamous 2 minutes hate, as discussed previously. In this moment, the light that shines upon us illuminates our path, reminding us that we are all human and that the only true fear is the one we allow to define us. Empathy and recognition deepen when we close the distance between ourselves and others, listening more closely to the varied textures of their experiences. By turning our attention to the mysteries of emotion, longing, and doubt, we move beyond superficial labels and the rush to stereotype. Compassion then becomes a quiet, stubborn insistence that the interior life of each person matters, halting mockery and guiding us toward understanding. In this way, we see another's joys and sorrows not as distant flashes, but as vital, mysterious parts of our shared humanity. Contempt corrodes the heart like rust, gnawing at our deepest bonds, yet it also forces us to look inward and reclaim the tenderness that binds us. This choice calls for disciplined attention to one another, a refusal to reduce anyone to a punchline, and a steadfast commitment to empathy and compassion, even when it is difficult. Rewriting the ending starts with a simple, transformative step. The way we choose to see others and respond to their experiences shapes our collective future. By resisting dehumanizing narratives, recognizing our shared humanity, and opting for tenderness, we can redraw the arc of our shared story toward a more humane and open world. The starting point is clear. See the humanity in others and respond with empathy, compassion, and love. 1. A contemplative discipline. To embody this understanding of our shared humanity and empathy, we can turn to contemplative disciplines that offer practical pathways for cultivating compassion. The act of breathing is a quiet power that lets us step back from automatic reactions. By pausing and noticing, we create space for inner reflection and care, allowing us to discern the heart behind each impulse. This gentle practice invites us to listen to our own hearts and to those around us, finding common ground where divisions once seemed insurmountable. As we keep a compassion journal, we learn to recognize mercy in everyday moments and to see each other as fully human. In this way, A single breath becomes a gateway to kindness, a fresh word that can be shared with ourselves and others, awakening the quiet power of compassion within us all. 1. Practices for awakening: breath, pause, and presence. In the opening minutes of a day or the midst of a storm, breath becomes a quiet doorway to presence. Try this. For a moment, simply notice your breath. Inhale slowly, exhale completely. Repeat 3 times. Feel how this simple act creates a small, intimate space, quieting the reactive ego and inviting compassion to flow. This pause lets us shift our perspective, meeting others with steadier eyes and a lighter heart. Our culture prizes swift reactions and rapid outcomes, yet a single breath can unsettle the inner rhythm and open us to deeper choices. The power of pause is a practical, intimate instrument that lets us step back, observe, and respond with more kindness and presence. Mini exercise. Take 30 seconds right now. Notice the weight of your feet on the floor. Hear 3 distinct sounds around you. Feel the fabric of your clothes. How does this brief shift change your internal state? This deliberate stillness acts as a bridge that deepens connection, allowing compassion to grow and opening us to deeper choices in a world of trust and understanding. We pause in bodily sensations, shoulders tense, breath quickening, pulse distant, and gently soften them. The nervous system settles, clarity returns, and we move into action with awe and kindness. Presence invites listening, not speaking, allowing us to hear the other's motives, fears, and longing. Try this. In your next conversation, consciously practice active listening. Instead of formulating your reply, focus entirely on understanding what the other person is communicating, verbally and non-verbally. Notice how this changes the dynamic. When words align with our hearts, empathy grows, and we become better friends, brothers, and neighbors. Tuning into bodily signals without harsh self-criticism is central to this practice. When we notice stress, anxiety, or reactivity, we gain early cues to intervene with calm and regulation, cooling the heat that can flare into a 2-minute haze of anger, as discussed previously. Small silences are not empty gaps. They are pockets of wonder. Mini exercise. Find a moment today to simply linger in a small silence. Notice the ripple of light on water, the curve of a leaf, the hush between birds. By staying present in these moments, we replace the sting of a measured reply with the gentle warmth of care, and we become better friends, brothers, and neighbors. In a world of endless stimulation, these brief, still moments become antidotes, drawing us back to awe and a renewed connection with the living world. As presence deepens, our perceptions soften and judgments loosen, allowing us to see others and ourselves with greater humility. The world unfolds in richer beauty and variety, and our hearts open to diverse ways of being. This is not a distant ideal, but a practical shift in how we relate to everyday life. Daily discipline and ethical imagination guide us toward a more compassionate, grounded way of living. Make this practice part of daily life, and it grows into ethical imagination, a habit of responding with consideration, resilience, and care. In small, consistent acts, breath, pause, listening, body awareness, we transform relationships and, in time, our shared world, one breath at a time. 2. Compassion journaling. Recording moments that require mercy. Building on the stillness and awareness cultivated through breath and pause, we can deepen our practice of presence and compassion through intentional daily reflection. When the city draws nearer to its ordinary rhythm, the small acts of compassion reveal a larger truth. Compassion is not a distant ideal, but a habit we can cultivate daily. By keeping a compassion journal, we pause to notice mercy moments, those brief pauses between judgment and genuine understanding. These moments invite us to reflect, to slow, and to act with gentleness, turning ordinary kindness into living grace that reaches even the most fleeting, broken moments of humanity. By training our attention to these moments, we begin to see the patterns and triggers that shape our reactions. Recording mercy moments lets us pause judgment and ask, what happened? Why did the pause occur? What needs or fears surface for me and for the other person? For example, consider this entry from a compassion journal. Mercy moment. During a busy commute, a driver aggressively cut me off, causing me to brake sharply. My immediate reaction was intense irritation and a flash of anger. What happened? I felt a surge of adrenaline and an urge to honk or retaliate. Why did the pause occur? Before reacting, I noticed the tightness in my jaw and remembered to breathe, giving myself a split second to choose my response. What needs or fears surfaced for me? A need for safety and control, and a fear of disrespect or danger. What needs or fears surfaced for the other person? Perhaps they were late for an emergency, distracted, or struggling with their own frustrations. Their aggressive driving might have stemmed from a need to rush or a fear of consequences. Reflection. By pausing, I shifted from personal offense to a broader understanding of shared human struggle. Instead of holding on to anger, I could acknowledge the other driver's potential hidden story, transforming my frustration into a moment of empathy, allowing me to let go of the incident with greater ease. This turns ordinary kindness, or rather, the choice not asterisk to react negatively, into living grace, extending compassion even to a fleeting, anonymous interaction. Asterisk. Writing these questions turns the act of journaling into a mirror, reflecting both our motives and the shared vulnerability beneath the surface action. As we document each pause, we gain a clearer picture of our own humanity and the humanity of those around us. By reframing the symbols of error as fellow travelers with shared longings and frailties, we turn what might appear as devils into allies. This practice of documenting egoic relief and the laughter that masks insecurity lets us break down the barriers that keep us from genuine sympathy and care. Naming these dynamics helps us identify triggers and the brief moments that turn contempt into compassion. In doing so, we dissolve the shame that keeps us from true understanding, allowing mercy to replace wrathful scorn and bringing a deeper, more intimate grace into our lives. This practice invites us to translate our reflections into action. By allowing mercy to guide our will, we can begin to release the old thoughts that bind us. Make this practice regular. Set aside time each day to observe, record, and reflect. With consistent attention, compassion shifts from an occasional sentiment to a lasting orientation, one that quietly reshapes how we see the world and relate to others. 3. Restorative listening. Hearing the other before judging. As we cultivate a lasting orientation of compassion through daily reflection and journaling, we find its power extends profoundly to our interactions with others. When sharp disagreement erupts, listening becomes the quiet force that refocuses what truly matters. It is not the words themselves that heal, but the attentive presence that follows them. Restorative listening is a path to understanding and compassion that begins with a deliberate choice. Hear first, judge later, and keep your tongue still. It is a skill of holding space for another's experience, allowing that space to become a kind of quiet presence. In this practice, we attend to the speaker's words, not just their cadence, and we hold space for the emotions that hang on them. This invites us to stand with the speaker in their experience, reflecting back what we hear and honoring their emotions as real and legitimate. It requires us to hear patiently, maintaining an unwavering openness and resisting the temptation to stir our silences with our own thoughts. By giving undivided attention, no interruptions, no pre-planned responses, we allow the other to share fully. When we tune in with our full attention, we hear the pulse of pain, the unspoken needs, and the deep needs of the other's soul, shifting the atmosphere and opening a path to a deeper, shared humanity. We can then ask open-ended questions to clarify, paraphrase, or summarize to confirm understanding, and gently guide the conversation toward what matters most to them. For instance, if someone exclaims, "I can't believe they dismissed my ideas again. I feel completely unheard and undervalued," a restorative listener might respond, "It sounds like you're feeling incredibly frustrated and disrespected because your contributions aren't being acknowledged." Is that an accurate reflection of what's happening? By doing so, we give the other person the chance to be heard without interruption, and we allow the silence to refine what we truly care about. Restorative listening is not idle talk. It is an art that brings the heart into harmony with the other's truth, letting compassion grow where words alone cannot. By hearing first and labeling last, we shift from critique to understanding, creating a safe space for open exchange. Listening for emotion takes us beyond the bare structure of an argument, into the speaker's tone, posture, and the subtle undercurrents that reveal our shared humanity. When we pause deliberately before responding, we give room for reflection, concern, and empathy. This deliberate pause facilitates deeper connection and allows compassion to grow, honoring what is felt and what is said alike. In that quiet moment, we resist impulsive judgments and choose thoughtful responses, listening with open ears and open hearts. Restorative listening is an act of service, not merely a phrase, and it honors both what is said and what is felt. By hearing another's story with patience and care, we uncover common ground beneath the conflict and recognize the shared humanity that unites us. This silent witness, held with dignity, gives hope that friendship can begin and that the other's dignity is preserved even in the midst of pain and strife. In the quiet moments that interrupt the cruelty of our hearts, we find that dignity still flourishes. As we grow into the habit of truly hearing one another, we discover a way of life that brings deeper, more humane conversation. The next section will build on these ideas, offering practical exercises, case studies, and reflections that keep listening open at the heart and bring us closer together. 2. Community as school of tenderness. Building on the practice of restorative listening in our individual interactions, we discover that a community, when rooted in such deep attentiveness, transforms into a school of tenderness. Imagine a community gathering where, instead of heated debate, participants pause to genuinely hear each other's underlying fears and hopes. Through this shared presence and mutual care, old tensions visibly soften, making space for new understanding and connection. When the clamor of life rushes in, true connection demands a kind of silence that tests our capacity for caring. In those quiet moments, the heart's tender response asks how wide it can stretch, how it can weep without shame, and how attentive listening can wash away pain. This silent, patient love becomes a balm for our mutual wounds, judged not by heat or horror, but by the humility that opens the mind. By letting the wounded hearts open, tenderness grows and forgiveness follows, reminding us that what is human is shared and that we are bound by deep listening and gentle humility. 1. Interludes, sermons, skeptical dialogues, voices that test empathy. In the quiet after a crowded gathering, a circle forms. A pause becomes a doorway, not a break from reality, but a chance to listen more closely, to notice what remains unspoken. These small, intentional breaths slow the rush of daily life and invite a gentler kind of attention. Interludes play a decisive part in testing our empathy, slowing quick judgments and encouraging reflection amid the clamor. Imagine a tense meeting where a moment of silence unexpectedly falls. In that space, accusations soften into curiosity. When these brief pauses appear in every kind of conversation, between neighbors at a schoolyard or in a workplace hall, they become important waiting places where we can choose tenderness over haste, keeping our senses attuned to the subtle rhythm of the moment. The aim is not to erase difference, but to make room for it, so that it can be held with care. This, then, is the power of empathy in interludes, which is as simple and profound as any art of sympathy, inviting us to listen with genuine intention and to open an emotional space where others can speak. In those brief pauses, we learn to hear the laughter and sorrow of another, to see from their eyes a place that invites dialogue, and to let our own responses arise naturally, whether it be a smile, a laugh, or a quiet nod. Sermons and skeptical dialogues serve as two complementary tools, guiding us toward a path where empathy becomes a practice of tenderness rather than haste. Sermons refract harm into responsibility, inviting listeners to attend to the wounds that others bear and to act with care. For instance, a sermon might reframe a narrative of us versus them blame into one acknowledging shared historical burdens and collective paths toward healing. Skeptical dialogues test our assumptions, urging us to question what we think and to seek a deeper understanding. Perhaps a colleague, initially convinced of one solution, pauses to consider a counter-argument, leading to a more comprehensive plan. Together, they keep the conversation alive, grounding us in humility and vulnerability. When we approach others with a gentle, open heart, we create a safe space for stories to unfold and for empathy to grow. Our pain is seen and heard, and in that recognition, empathy is cultivated, allowing us to feel merciful, caring support. 2. The 7-day compassionate action plan, prompts and rituals. To further cultivate this deeper practice of empathy and connection, grounding the insights from interludes, sermons, and skeptical dialogues in tangible daily actions, we now offer a 7-day compassionate action plan designed to integrate mindful listening and understanding into your daily life. This plan provides a structured approach, guiding you through prompts and rituals that encourage reflection, presence, and intentional interaction. Each day builds upon the last, fostering a sustainable habit of compassionate engagement with yourself and others. This week-long journey is divided into daily themes, beginning with self-compassion and expanding outward to interpersonal relationships. For instance, Day 1 focuses on cultivating self-compassion, guiding you through journaling prompts to acknowledge personal struggles without judgment and a short silent reflection practice designed to foster inner kindness. You will find prompts for journaling, silent reflection, and specific conversational practices. Rituals, such as a daily check-in or a gratitude practice, are suggested to ground your experience. The complete 7-day plan, detailing all specific prompts, rituals, and themes for each day, is provided in Appendix A. Embrace this opportunity to transform your interactions and deepen your capacity for genuine connection, one thoughtful action at a time. 3. Boundaries with mercy, accountability without cruelty. Applying the insights gained from this compassionate action plan to our broader interactions, we find that boundaries with mercy, setting limits while affirming dignity in the spaces where people connect, families, neighbors, faith communities, classrooms, shapes how we show care. When mercy guides limits, protection and empathy cohere, guarding the vulnerable, keeping trust intact, and inviting honest reflection without erasing dignity. For instance, imagine a workplace conflict where a team member makes a critical but personal remark about a colleague. Instead of immediate reprimand or shaming, a leader could apply boundaries with mercy by saying, "Your feedback on the project is important, but personal attacks are not acceptable here. Let's focus on the task at hand and how we can collaborate effectively." This framing criticism with care establishes a clear boundary while inviting the individual to reflect on their communication style. If the team member acknowledges the harm and offers a genuine apology, restitution, and both parties engage in a facilitated discussion to understand perspectives, reflection, it paves a path toward reconciliation, rebuilding trust, and fostering accountability without diminishing anyone's inherent worth. By drawing these boundaries, we shield the marginalized from mockery and preserve empathy, ensuring that love remains warm and kind even when confronting difficult topics. The words we choose shape how harm flows and how healing can be spoken, yet they must always preserve the dignity of everyone involved. When language honors our shared humanity, it invites learning rather than ridicule, allowing accountability to be a constructive force instead of shaming one. By framing criticism with care, we can turn a painful moment into an opportunity for growth, ensuring that the consequences we impose are humane and effective. Restitution, reflection, and a path toward reconciliation help rebuild trust and lift up the common good, rather than widening wounds. Communal practice, as embodied by the community of tenderness, means that tenderness and dialogue is a continual practice, not a one-time event. Ongoing conversations premised on empathy and curiosity nurture accountability that is gentle, restorative, and redemptive. Through patient listening and careful response, a community grows more trustworthy and humane. 1. Case studies and parables. Yet, even as we strive to establish such a foundation of mercy-guided boundaries, the currents of our shared spaces often carry judgment at dizzying speeds. When a word or act is made public, contempt can break down connections and drain the soul, leaving us feeling as if we must punish ourselves. Yet in that moment, we can choose a different response. By listening attentively, showing genuine remorse, and recognizing our common ground, we open a path to healing. Restorative practices invite us to mend rather than cast judgment, to ask for forgiveness instead of condemning. This courage of compassion turns a swift dissent into censure into an opportunity for repair. Let us look to the power of restorative acts, to the bond of our common heart, and to the possibility that, through attentive listening and sincere acknowledgement, what was broken can be restored. Thus, by thoughtful restraint guided by mercy and humility, we can transform reflexive cruelty, fear, hatred, and want into acts of caring that heal the very heart of our society. 1. From online shaming to restorative courage. In the glow of networked spaces, a single moment of speech can ripple out like a hurricane, drowning nuance in a chorus of criticism and ridicule. That instant, when we speak, feels both frightening and human, as if our words are stripped of dignity in a blink and distorted by the torrent of judgment that follows. We are left to wonder, how do we hold each other's feet to the fire when a screen turns our thoughts into a flood of contempt? And yet, amid this echo, we must keep our hands close to our hearts and our eyes open, lest we fall into the same helplessness that others experience. The challenge is to remain a free and humble human family, careful to keep together in spirit, even when the virtual and non-virtual worlds collide and our words are drowned out by the digital cacophony. The consequences can reach far beyond a momentary embarrassment, spilling into ostracism, harassment, and even the loss of livelihood. Consider the hypothetical case of Alex, a young professional who, after a frustrating day, posted a sarcastic, generalizing comment on a local community forum about a recent public decision. What Alex intended as a cynical quip was instantly misinterpreted as a malicious attack on the community's volunteers. Within hours, Alex's post was deluged with angry replies, accusations of disrespect, and even threats to contact Alex's employer, a textbook chorus of criticism and ridicule that stripped Alex's words of dignity and distorted their intent. The online space became a digital firing squad, threatening ostracism and worse. Now, imagine if, instead of immediate condemnation, a community moderator, Maria, had intervened with a different approach. Drawing on the principles of restorative dialogue, Maria first practiced restraint, resisting the urge to join the pile-on. She posted a public reply, not to excuse Alex, but to redirect the conversation. I understand the frustration this comment has caused. Before we jump to conclusions, could we pause and clarify the specific issue Alex was trying to highlight? Alex, could you elaborate on your concern, perhaps in a way that helps us understand your perspective, even if we disagree with the initial phrasing? This simple act of restraint in cyberspace created a crucial opening. It didn't ignore the harm, but invited understanding. Alex, initially defensive, saw an opportunity for dialogue rather than further shaming. Alex explained the specific frustration, acknowledging the poor choice of words, and expressing genuine regret for the offense caused. Many in the community, witnessing this attempt at clarification and apology, shifted from anger to a willingness to listen empathetically. The punitive cycle began to loosen its grip. Instead of a permanent mark of ostracism, the incident transformed into an opportunity for Alex to learn about community communication and for the forum members to practice empathetic listening and constructive feedback. This subtle yet profound shift changed a potential sentence of exile into a path to healing, fostering dignity not just for Alex, but for the entire community. As researcher Jamil Zaki notes, social media often isolates and dehumanizes, yet it remains a powerful tool that can also save the world's raw human soul. The key lies in how we use it. Restorative dialogue offers an optimistic hope. When we meet conflict with open eyes, empathetic listening, and accountability, the distance of hurt becomes a path to healing rather than a sentence of exile. This approach invites healing by making the words we share more sacred than condemnation. By cultivating empathy in our networked spaces, We can pause before replying, recognizing that we are all equals, and that restraint is the first step toward tenderness. When people see the common humanity that binds them, the punitive cycle loosens its grip, and the balm of tolerance flows from their hearts. The brief, deliberate pause, echoing the 2 minutes hate, as discussed previously, reminds us to look beyond the screen and to the person behind the post. In this way, restraint in cyberspace becomes a powerful tool for restoring dignity and fostering a shared, humane community. To pause and let each word and action breathe is to give them room to settle, to prevent them from slipping into the gutter. It requires courage and self-awareness, and it opens a space where truth can be seen and healing can begin. By holding back the rush of judgment, we create a bond of trust that steadies us and expands our sphere of responsibility. 2. Real-world repair. Stories where empathy changed outcomes. On a quiet street, quarrels over shared space ignite a sharp anger that feels almost like a war. Consider the escalating tensions in the Elm Street Community Garden. For months, residents Mr. Henderson and Ms. Rodriguez had been locked in a bitter dispute over a shared plot, accusing each other of trespassing and misusing resources. Their initial sharp anger had escalated to shouting matches, making the entire garden feel like a battleground. Yet, when a local mediator facilitated a gathering, a different kind of circle slowly formed. Initially resistant, both agreed to a process of quiet listening. As Ms. Rodriguez spoke of her family's need for fresh produce after a job loss, and Mr. Henderson revealed his anxieties about maintaining the garden's overall health after years of neglect, their voices softened. The space invited not judgment, but understanding. In that newfound space, the self-centered I receded. The hurt was acknowledged, not just the perceived slights, but the underlying fears and hopes. Their shared need for sustenance and community health, once obscured by conflict, became clear. By allowing their pain to be heard and understood, their bonds began to mend. They transformed harmful energy into something restorative, agreeing to share the plot differently and even collaborate on a new composting system. This act of profound listening halted the dehumanization, allowing them to see each other not as adversaries, but as fellow humans with shared aspirations. By opening our hearts to the suffering that lies beneath contempt, we create a bridge of understanding that invites healing into every corner of our community. The more we listen with our whole being, the greater the possibility of restoring what has been lost, and the world becomes a place where everyone can be heard and understood. It does more than reduce anger. It makes collaboration and right thinking possible. Recognizing common needs, safety, dignity, opportunity, helps redirect our choices towards restoration, reframing challenges as solvable problems rather than conflicts to be fought. By acknowledging our own imperfections and pursuing justice with compassion, we can gain perspectives that legal interpretations alone often miss. This reminds us that wrongs are often interconnected, and that true resolution doesn't always mean fighting every battle alone or assigning all blame. Instead, it enables us to recover a trust built on shared understanding that binds us. Mercy has a tangible effect beyond individual acts. Sharing stories of mercy widens our sense of belonging and dampens cycles of humiliation. When communities recount and reflect on compassionate responses, hands offered, coffers opened, chances given, the ripple effect invites others to act similarly. Mercy becomes a guiding light, shaping choices toward healing and creating new possibilities for repair across divides. 3. Lessons learned: humility, courage, and ongoing practice. The preceding narratives of mercy and paths to repair profoundly demonstrate that how we judge each other, when rooted in humility and courage, actively shapes the world we inhabit. Humility compels us to see pain and hear cries, fostering empathy and a more humane justice by transforming contempt into pity and recognizing our shared vulnerability. Courage enables us to name harm without cruelty, resisting derision, protecting victims, and modeling a standard of care from which love flows. Sustained reflection and disciplined empathy, as evidenced in the transformative outcomes of our case studies, are essential. This ongoing practice cultivates a deeper understanding and tenderness, elevating our consciousness and compelling us to compassionately engage with those who are cold or scorned. It allows us to act with calm resolve, moving beyond self-interest to embrace something greater than ourselves. This reflexive, disciplined empathy, powerfully demonstrated in the transformative narratives, is the ultimate force of love against the dehumanizing mockery of life. It manifests our shared humanity by actively preferring compassion over contempt, thereby preserving the very fabric of society from indifference and oppression. By choosing love as our ultimate goal, we forge bonds not through particular desires, but through a profound and mutual understanding and respect. 2. Invitation and action. The currents of our shared existence often pull us toward quick judgments and sharp divisions. Yet a quiet, deep strength waits within us, a choice offered to care rather than reproach, to listen rather than rave. By turning toward empathy, even in its smallest gestures, we can transform the relations we once took for granted and rebuild our unity against the forces that seek to divide us. This quiet revolution of affection, a gentle humility that steadies the heart, invites us to rewrite the last chapters of our communion, to become brothers and sisters bound by mercy and love. It is a call to let go of the sting of judgment and to open our hearts to the light of shared humanity, so that new life may creep in and replace old wounds with compassion. 1. If empathy is the currency, how to spend it. Empathy is the quiet power we must spend in every exchange, a currency that buys trust, softens our judgments, and keeps our social fabric intact. When we choose care over the impulse to snap to conclusions, we unlock a way of relating that moves us from suspicion to collaboration, from distance to partnership, and from isolation to belonging. By listening first and responding with curiosity, we open new doors to shared experience and create space for cooperation, even when differences seem stark. By choosing attentiveness over labeling, we tear down the walls that keep us apart and invite a more open, cooperative way of living. Listening first, before we judge, lets us hear the deepest stories of others and see ourselves reflected in their faces. The fear that often grips us in the face of the unfamiliar loosens when we pause to listen quietly, dissolving old stereotypes and opening the heart to compassion. By acknowledging the inherent worth of each individual, we deflate the hot air of blame and suspicion that often clouds our judgments. Speaking a common thread of humanity turns shame into nourishment, allowing us to turn hurt into care. This wealth of empathy sustains our connections and enriches our lives, inviting us to pause, reflect, and grow together in understanding. Practice small, tender acts every day. Instead of snapping at a frustrated customer service representative, acknowledge their situation with "I hear how challenging this must be. Let's see if we can find a solution together." In a tense family discussion, pause before responding to ask, "Can you help me understand what's really bothering you about this?" When confronted with differing political views, genuinely inquire, "What experiences led you to that perspective?" These intentional gestures, far beyond mere politeness, actively shrink tension and invite people to show up as their best selves, turning everyday interactions into collaborative problem-solving. Let us resist the 2-minute hates and the quick, negative replies that drown out constructive dialogue, as discussed previously. Instead, nurture a practical, repeatable habit of care that keeps our energy flowing toward the world. These rooms of tenderness aren't physical spaces, but moments woven into daily life. Perhaps a neighborhood potluck where diverse stories are shared, a community forum where opposing views are met with curious listening, or simply a spontaneous conversation where genuine understanding is sought. Offer people the chance to share their stories, fears, and moments of vulnerability, inviting them to speak and to listen with mercy and understanding. Rituals and conversations that weave these moments into everyday life give everyone permission to be human, to ask for help, and to give it in return. By practicing small acts of kindness and holding space for each voice, we build a pattern of communion that values every individual presence. 2. The invitation. Join the quiet revolution. George Orwell's 1984 serves as a potent reminder. In a world where cruelty can take many forms, honesty and tenderness are our true anchors. It compels us to actively resist the forces of division and to constantly measure our values against our actions. The practical habits of empathy and compassionate listening, detailed through everyday gestures, become our most vital defense against the 2 minutes hate and the corrosive humiliation it represents, as discussed previously. By choosing to pause the chant and listen instead, we not only foster mutual understanding, but directly heed Orwell's warning. This sustained practice of introspection, empathy, and compassion, woven in a constant, small acts, is how we strive toward a society that values human connection and recognizes the profound danger of unchecked power and hatred, one deliberate act of kindness at a time. 3. The final silence. Choosing love over laughter. After heeding Orwell's warnings and embracing empathy, we arrive at the culminating power of silence. More than the absence of sound, this active stillness is an ultimate invitation to deeper reflection, transcending provocation and shifting from judgment to profound understanding. It is the quiet space where blame fades, replaced by mindful, loving responses that embrace the heart of others, catalyzing ultimate healing action. From the profound stillness of this ultimate silence, a deeper understanding of forgiveness emerges as the final, transformative act. Born of humility, forgiveness breaks ego-driven pride, inviting us to surrender to compassion that witnesses suffering, not to erase tears, but to halt the cycle of retaliation. By pausing the chain of hurt, we soothe all parties, nurturing kinder, more just relationships. This gentle restraint transforms despair into tenderness, uniting us and rewriting narratives as the ultimate expression of our shared humanity. Ultimately, silence emerges as the profound culmination of our journey, a sacred space where dignity is reclaimed and the deepest healing begins. Here, true forgiveness takes root, fostering authentic connection and an empathetic society. In this ultimate quiet, we discover the unwavering courage to fundamentally rewrite our narratives, transcending past hurts to transform ourselves and the world with lasting strength and purpose. 5. The path of attentive living. The path of attentive living cultivates a mindful awareness that transforms thoughtless reactions into a vigilant presence. It reveals human truth in our inner courage and moral choices, guiding us from mere reaction to conscious understanding, offering a clearer vision of ourselves and the world. This journey, supported by sustained inner work, profoundly shapes our moral landscape, strengthening connections to others and fostering a more conscious, compassionate way of living. It is a path realized not in isolation, but through shared presence and mutual care, with principles that find concrete expression in everyday experience. The insights woven throughout this manuscript offer practical guides for daily living, deepening our understanding of human nature and revealing the restorative power of genuine connection. This ongoing awareness calls us to cultivate receptive, patient, and deliberate inner resources, empowering us to navigate existence with unwavering compassion and intentionality. The journey ahead is an invitation to continuously embody these principles, transforming ourselves and the world around us. Turning inward, we find the cure for our fractured selves in conscious engagement with our moral landscape, fostering a humane way of living. This journey is an incessant work, a steady unfolding that refines our perception and interactions, offering a sustained direction, a purposeful movement guided by the eternal soul within. This is an invitation to live these ideas, nurturing the inner and outer gardens of our lives, and remaining conscious and sensitive to ourselves and others. It urges us to keep walking toward our true center, continually refining and embodying these insights in everyday life, fostering deep gratitude and renewed perception. Through mindful awareness, we soften judgments, strengthen empathy, and transform our moments into places of tenderness and warmth. This continuous refinement, a perpetual unfolding, inspires kindness in ourselves and others, shaping a life that reflects our commitment to growth. It guides us toward a world where the heart echoes compassion and understanding, turning everyday practice into a gentle, steady rhythm.